Hi, everybody. Welcome to Connecting with Jennifer Filzen. Today, I have a new guest, Hany Louis of King Tile and Grout. Yes? Did I get that
Talon
right?
Grout King. Talon
Tile
Grout
and Grout King, sorry. I knew King was in there, right?
King.
Tile and Grout King. Now, we met through the National Association of Remodeling Industry Silicon Valley chapter. Did I get that right?
You nailed it. Yes, that's a good acronym. Yeah.
Yeah, NARI SV. And I tell you what, this is just a great group of people. They're predominantly contractors who focus on construction and all things remodeling. And Haney just had this wonderful persona that shined through Zoom. And I was like, dude, I got to talk to you. I gotta have a little interview with you. Now, for those of you who are new to watching Connecting with Jennifer Filzen, this whole thing was born out of COVID. Rockstar Marketing, which is my digital marketing agency that we've been around since 2009, we do a thing called SEO interviews. And the questions that we ask here in Connecting with Jennifer Filzen: what makes you special and unique? Who do you serve? What is your why? And what advice do you have? They're predominantly the same questions that we ask in an SEO interview when we are creating content for someone's website. We ask, what makes you special and unique? What is your why? Who is your target demographic? And because it's SEO, what cities and neighborhoods do you want to target, and what keywords do you want to do? So it's a little bit more technical when we're doing an SEO interview for Rockstar Marketing. But I had this opportunity to get online with all these wonderful people. Some of them I have no idea. Like Hany and I really don't know each other well. We're going to get to know each other in this interview, and I'm going to discover as many new things about him as you guys are. So welcome. Grab your tea, grab your beer, whatever you want. And this is just Connecting with Jennifer Filzen. Yay! Now, Hany, let's talk about you. Give us a little bit of intro. Who are you? How long you been in business? Like, tell us, where are you located? All that fun stuff.
Yeah, so my name is Hany Louis. I own the Tile and Grout King. We're a small remodeling company focused on tile and stone installation. We've been in business now for almost 14 years. And we're located out of Santa Clara. That's where our shop is, our warehouse. We don't sell material, but we do install it. We're predominantly just contractors. But we do help with the selection process. The second part of my company is a restoration company. So if you have existing tile, which just grout that's deteriorated or needs to be recolored, we offer a whole restoration division that can come in and clean it up and seal it and make it look like what it was originally looked like when it was installed. So and yeah, so it's been a great business in the Bay Area. We've been able to help out the community for this whole 14 years that we've been in business. So it's been wonderful. Very fortunate.
That is so cool. Okay, now did you start the business, or are you second generation business, third generation business?
No, I started the business. My dad was in construction, but he stopped that about, I want to say 25, 26 years ago. It started, went into the restaurant business. But I had some experience when I was very young working with him. But no, I just started this business. I was working for somebody else, and just went off on my own. I just learned a lot of things from doing tile and restoration, and just started the wonderful business I have.
That is so cool. Okay, for your dad to go from construction to restaurant, that's an interesting switch.
Yeah, so he owned two cafeterias actually. They were kind of like restaurants, but they were inside of Lockheed Martin, the old facilities. Yeah, they actually shut the building down, so he had to actually retire after that. But yeah, so he was in construction for a long time before that, and I would be with him at a very young age, on weekends or whenever I had time off school, just at his projects. And he was a general contractor, so um, building new homes. So it was very good experience on how to um, uh, love to work, and have the mentality to work and good work ethic. So I think that really grounded me and helped me with my business. So yeah.
You know, isn't it cool when we have parents who are also entrepreneurs and small business owners? So
Yeah.
my parents were electrical contractors before they retired. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And my
So,
grandfather was an electrical contractor. So my dad,
yeah.
I think, hoping that I would become an electrician, but I'm like, nope.
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny because my parents actually wanted me to not own my own business. They wanted me to go to school and get a degree,
Ew.
right? Yeah. I actually ended up getting a degree, an economics degree that I don't use. Of course, I used what I learned from it, but not the actual degree. Yes. So,
Oh my God, Haney, we have so much in common.
yeah.
My dad was like, do not work for yourself. Go get a
Yeah.
job with the state to get a pension.
Yeah.
So I was actually supposed to become a school teacher. I actually got my degree in education, social studies education.
Okay.
Economics was something that I very much studied,
Yeah.
yes. And then I started teaching seventh grade and I hated it.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Realized that teaching preteens, not my gig. I like
Yeah.
them when they're my friends' kids and I get to hang out with them and teach them how to play drums and eventually teach them how to drive stick shift, but not in the classroom. Nope, nope.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was hilarious. Isn't that funny that the parents tell us, nope, don't do what I did. And here we
I,
are. And I too, I got my master's in history. Not that that did anything for me, but as a marketer, I love people.
yeah. Yeah.
Love people, and knowing that I studied the social sciences and I got my degrees in them. Yeah, I'm certified to study people.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. That's very true. Yeah.
But economics, now that's really important, right? Because you're watching the trends and the ebb and flow. Construction industry, as you know, Great Recession, man, that industry. I was actually marketing director for a construction company when the
Okay.
recession,
Yeah.
and that was oof, right? Now, COVID era, the restaurants, the hairstylists, the bars, like all these places that are traditionally recession proof, oof, they got bulldozed, right? So
Yeah. It's
so tell
interesting
me,
to watch it. Yeah.
yeah, so in your world, how are you seeing the trends with construction as of early 2021, and what do you see the trajectory being over the next few years?
Well, as most will tell you, when except for the period where we actually had to shut down, I think there was a good 3, 4 weeks where the entire construction industry had to shut down almost a year ago to this day. Other than that period, the construction industry has been actually booming because if you think about it, people are staying home and uh, they need to do something because where they spend their money elsewhere on vacations and other items of shopping at the malls where they can't do those kinds of things anymore. So you're looking at a project that's been staring at you over the course of the shutdown. You eventually fix it. So yeah, we've had a lot of projects. The other thing that's been keeping us busy, but to a degree that it's actually slowing us down, is the city. They're so backed up. They earlier on and still continuing, it's really hard to get permits or plan approvals. Inspections are going pretty well. Yeah, but they're so backed up because they had to switch from being in a location
Person, digital.
to working from home,
Wow.
and which caused a lot of backup. A lot of their employees were adjusting to it right away. You'd send these emails, we wouldn't hear anything back for about 3, 4 weeks. Not even a response, an acknowledgement of the email, you know. So it was tough, and we actually, our group, we raised a little alarm to the city about that, and there's actually even a Mercury News article that interviewed 2 of our members that really made a big fuss about it. But so it's just interesting to see that happening to the economy because there was a huge demand, but the city was holding back the supply of building and remodeling. So, but yeah, I mean, but now it's anybody contractor will tell you they're really swamped, they're really busy still. So, and the other thing that is holding us up is materials. So it's if you're noticing your project is being held up, it's because materials are having a hard time reaching
Oh,
customers and
that's
prices. price of the materials are going up higher too. So whereas before you had to wait 3-4 weeks for a faucet to arrive, now it's closer to 3-4 months. Things like that. So including
Four
tile.
months.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. Which then extends your build out project queue, because
Yes.
something that you normally could have done in, I don't know, a weekend might take a
Right.
month or longer.
Right. You typically break ground before, on a big remodeling project that I work for a lot of the general contractors. You break ground before you've selected all the final materials, and even after you selected the materials, not until you purchase them do you realize what the lead time is on some of the material, if it's longer than usual. So it's hard to predict that before you break ground. So sometimes that does delay projects, unless you just select a different material altogether that's more local. So
Well, I'm
yeah, it's
so
very tough. Yeah,
that. That's really, I had no idea. Isn't that funny? This is the thing. It's like every industry is affected, right?
yeah,
I was reading a report on auto production, how there are certain trends, like the purchase of pickup trucks is up for two
yeah,
reasons. One, because gas is so cheap, people aren't worrying about fuel economy. They want to be able to haul stuff. And two,
yeah,
they're hauling stuff because they're going to Home Depot more frequently,
yeah.
moving out of California and going to
Yes,
other states, right? And
yeah,
hauling their stuff across the country. So that's an interesting thing. And then a lot of car parts are going more expensive because
yeah,
the components, the raw materials, are
yeah,
hindering production. And we're seeing, and also too, there's chips, computer chips that go into cars,
yeah,
that manufacturers of those chips are like, you know what? We want those chips to go to the consumer electronics because those are bigger ticket items. It's a higher profit margin, and there is lack of resources. So we're going to bet on this and not on auto production. So there's all these little dominoes that are falling that we may or may not be aware of. And you're
yeah,
right. Yeah, of course, as you walk around your neighborhood and you're seeing all this construction, but it's like, wow, that's taking a while. The raw materials. You're
yeah,
absolutely right. Wow.
yeah.
Wow. That's cool. So, so many things to navigate, right? As
Yeah,
you're going through this
like
boom.
I said, we've been really busy, but in the sense that we've been busy trying to navigate through the projects and getting materials and getting through city permits and stuff, so permitting and stuff. So while demand is high, it's just hard to supply our customers right now. So yeah.
Interesting. So now let's talk a little bit about who your company serves. And because like I didn't even think about permits for tile and grout, but of course, I mean everything requires a permit nowadays.
Right.
What makes you guys special and unique in your business? And then also too, who are you serving in particular?
We service residential and commercial, any commercial contractor, or it's mainly contractors that we work directly under. But we also work directly with homeowners. We have estimators that work directly with homeowners, and then um, uh, estimators or project managers also, that work directly with homeowners, and also project managers like me that work with contractors. We have done projects in Tesla, both their Fremont and Palo Alto office buildings, Chipotle, um, Google. We're actually at Valley Fair Mall right now. We actually are contracted directly to work for Valley Fair Mall. So it's just tons of projects that just keep us busy. And being part of NARI, which is the remodeling industry for residential homes, we are that's a big chunk of our business too, because we work directly for the contractors who use us to do the tile work. What makes us unique is we actually certified in a lot of the waterproofing materials that you'd want to put in your home. Schluter System's a very popular brand. That's one of the newest. Well, it's been out for a while now, but it's one of the highly demanded ones. It's the orange material. It just envelops your entire shower. Um, and so they have heat mats that they incorporate with that system. linear drains. So, we're always educate and certify our employees whenever we can to keep them up to date on all our projects. We also have a unique system where we kind of train within the company, so we don't really just hire a new tile installer unless you know somebody in the company, and even then you have to work underneath somebody for 2 years to learn our system before we let you go off on your own. And so, that's why any part of my projects, you'll see two guys, usually see two guys on every project. That's the main setter, and then his helper, who's usually running back and forth and collecting materials and stuff. So, and that's a really great system for us because, especially in the Bay Area where you're losing labor force, you're not finding it around here anymore. There's no technical schools anymore for any of this kind of stuff. It's hard to get that, retain that labor force, especially for tile. So it's a great way of training them and getting them, you know, we're not a certification school by any means, but they can get a huge amount of experience and exposure to tile insulation. And even after, we let them go off on their own, they're doing simple projects at the beginning, floors only, nothing technical yet. It's actually about a 4 or 5 year process before they can actually go off on their own. So,
Hmm. Wow, I like what you're doing. I like how you maintain the quality control within your own organization by having them go through essentially an apprenticeship, right?
yes, correct.
And you touched on something that is so true, right? Like, gosh, 20 something years ago, before Silicon Valley took over the Bay Area, right? Trades were a really good, solid career choice. And then Silicon Valley just took off, and it was like, oh, everyone wants to be an engineer, everyone wants to be a software engineer, computer engineer, uh, create the hardware, various things within the computer world. And you're right, a lot of negative stigma started going toward the trades. But you know what? We still need electricians, we still need plumbers, we still need mechanics, we still need all these little specialties, because if everyone's going to move into the area or remodel, they need to have the right skills. And the people who are able to afford those multi-million-dollar houses, if they're not doing them themselves and running to Home Depot with their brand new pickup trucks, right? They want to
Yeah,
hire somebody who offers quality work. And I
yeah,
think that's why you're probably thriving so well, because you have a high standard, a high bar, right? You're not going to just throw it and slap it together. And you're training your own people. And gosh, what I'm hoping for though, Hany, is that there are so many people that have been kicked out of their industries because of COVID.
yeah.
All the bartenders and servers and restaurant owners, all the hair, and not that these things aren't coming back, it's just that a lot of businesses have been damaged. Hair salon owners and stylists, musicians, they're kind of interesting in their own right. There are people who are full-time musicians, but then there are also part-time musicians who have a skill in something else,
Mhm.
and the musicianship was supplementing their other income. So I'm not surprised, but I am wondering, there are a lot of people leaving the Bay Area because it's so expensive. They can sell their house while it's at the top of the market and go somewhere cheaper like Texas or Florida or wherever.
Mhm.
But I would guess that this is a prime opportunity for the trades to start recruiting new people. Like I'm seeing in the auto repair world, there's a lot of recruitment for technicians, and technicians, especially if they're focused on a certain specialty and they're a master level tech, they're making six figures, no problem. And a service advisor, and a lot of women are finally starting to discover this. The auto repair industry is no longer the grease monkey thing. It's technology. It's getting together with the customers and providing great service. There are a lot of people who are discovering, oh, you can make good money in the auto repair industry, the electrical contracting industry, and all that. So hopefully, you guys can tap into those people seeking a career shift.
We do. I've gotten a high demand of. I get a lot of phone calls of people seeking employment with us over the last since 2021 has began actually.
Really?
More now than the beginning of the pandemic. But it's we are pretty decently busy, but we're just we are hiring, but we were hiring, but not so much anymore. It's tough to hire people when you don't know what the future holds still. So we are expecting hopefully everything to stay steady, but and the demand is right now has stayed steady, and I'm not noticing it picking up. I'm not getting huge call volumes or by any means. We just uh, we're just fortunate that through this downturn in the economy and in society that we've stayed steady. So it's hard to hire more people, but I would love to tap into that labor force if it's there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And I have some loving advice. Honestly, marketing is what helps you stabilize the business, whether it's good
mhm,
economy or bad.
yeah.
A lot of businesses that are just kicking butt right now are leaning into their marketing. And even though they've hired 15 new people, 25 new people, they're just upping their sales. And
Yeah.
therefore, when things do slow down, they're going to be fine. Yeah, I mean, you can't go too hard on hiring too many people, and then but yeah, you're right. There's like a formula to it. So
We,
um,
we we have an uptick in the summer, and that's when I usually pick up a handful of new workers, or some that have been with the company and they just have other side gigs and they come back. So yeah,
nice. Oh, that's cool that they come back to you. They don't just
yeah,
come and then leave. They actually they're like boomerang effect, right?
yes. If I need them, they'll come and help fill in some busier jobs. So it's good to have that. Yeah. So
Ah, that's really cool. Okay, let's talk a little bit personal stuff.
okay.
Just personal, because it's always fun to talk about business. I'm a business owner, you're a business owner. It's always fun. But I want to know the softer side of you. What makes you special and unique in your life? And who do you serve in your life?
Well, so I was I was born in Syria. I don't know if that makes
Oh
me
yeah?
special. Yeah, I was born in Syria and I moved here when I was about 7, 8 years old. So you know, I like that I could tell my kids, and that's who I serve in my life, that I moved here and with my parents, and they started a business, and we grew into my dad's business grew into what it was, his multiple businesses that were very successful, and my business that's been so fortunate so far. And I want them to learn that lesson in life about how there's struggles and how to overcome them and do whatever they want. And as much as just like you were saying, your parents want you to do something else besides owning a business. I'm the same way with my kids. It's funny because I want them to go through school and um, educate themselves and do something other than this, and something even more successful, more grand, whatever it is. So I want them to always be grounded in that. Um, that life is a struggle, and there's days off, but most of life is not. There's not too many days off. And I'm grateful to be here. Moving from one country to another, I can't imagine what my parents uh, did. I think they're around my age now, late 30s when they did it. So it must have been tough. But they did it, and it's a wonderful story, and I'm very grateful for them. I earned my citizenship through my parents. And the three boys, my three boys is who I serve. So we've got like almost like a little basketball team. Um, um, Wonderful, you know, loving boys that when I'm having a long day, I just shut everything down and I just turn to them, and everything's a big 180. Everything is much better when I'm just with them. So
Oh, that is so sweet. And I have had the pleasure of seeing you in Zoom meetings with a baby on your lap.
yeah,
How
my
old are
young.
your boys?
So my youngest is about to be 3 years old in about a month. My middle child is about to be 6 years old. He's actually 5 in the summertime. And then I have a 23-year-old actually. I had him when I was very young. So big age difference between the 3 boys. But actually, you may have seen him on the Zoom meetings with NARI.
Oh, really?
Um,
What's his name?
yeah, yeah, his name is Jordan. He
I did
is,
see him. Yes, that's your
yeah,
kid. He's a
that is my
great
son. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
had no
So
idea. That's so cool.
yeah, so he works with me, and he's also part of NARI. He's on the board with me, helps out, volunteers. Um,
Okay,
so yeah,
I have to ask. This is so cool. You've got a 23-year-old, you got a 6-year-old, and an almost 6-year-old, and almost 3-year-old.
yeah.
How how is that for you? I mean, if you, I mean, is it are you trying to get Jordan groomed to kind of like be your succession plan, and then maybe later like the quasi third generation gonna come in with it?
No, I'm actually pushing all of them to go to school. Now, Jordan, he's really just tries to stay busy. He's actually got several jobs. He also works at it's a speakeasy. It's called Haberdasher in downtown San Jose. So that's a night job that he's had. Not as busy with that since COVID, but it used to be pretty busy. But he's filled his time working for me, and then he also goes to junior college. So he's trying to, he's almost done with junior college, moving on to hopefully San Jose State like me. So yeah, I think I tell him he's welcome to fall back and work in the business and in the industry and become a partner. But I really want him to go through the route of school and develop a
Agreed.
sense of responsibility and earn his place a little bit more than just being handed the keys to the company. So
You know what, honey, that is a beautiful way to not only parent, but also to as a boss to
yeah,
your team. It's true. It's like, what is that phrase? When you're making a sword to temper the steel, you have to put it under fire. You have to
yeah.
temper it. You have to make it go through its challenges. And you're absolutely right. In the auto repair world, I have worked with many different businesses that have different generational. I've worked with first generation, like you, the business owner. I've worked with second generation, third generation, fourth generation, and I've actually worked with a company that's fifth generation. Fifth generation. Shocking. But what's so fascinating is that when I kind of characterize what's going on with the first, second, and third generations, the first generation, we're the ones, the blood, sweat, and tears. We've stayed up the long nights, working 24/7. I feel you, brother. you know, and we're the ones, like sweating it. Are we going to be able to make payroll? Are we going to be like, are my systems in place? Oh my gosh, are my clients happy? That kind of thing. The second generation, I've seen that they now have to protect that legacy. They have to protect that reputation that dad or mom or grandpa built, right? So second generation, they're like, okay, the family has built this thing. Now I got to keep it running. And they usually the ones are like taking new ideas, new technology. I always see that the second generation is the one that makes it go technology forward, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The third generation and on down, and this is not this is just generalizing. This is not specific, but it's just generalizing. The third generation doesn't have the same pain points that the first generation did, and they might start making those careless mistakes because
Mhm.
they didn't learn from the tempering of the sword and the nasty lessons that they learned. And so it's hard when it's a third or fourth or fifth generation. And then the one company that I worked with in Utah that was fifth generation, there were so many siblings that there was now competition amongst other shops because there were so many of them
Oh,
that they now were like kind of like cannibalizing. I
okay.
that's probably a strong term, but it's tough because when your relatives are across the way in the same town, who are you going to do business with?
Yeah, I would love my all my boys to work in the business, but it's nothing I'm gonna push. I want them to just find their own path in life. Um, as long as there's a good foundation that I help them build, moral and a good sense of humanity. That's all I ask for out of them, so they can pursue their own path of success. Doesn't matter what it is.
Oh, you're such a good dad. So similarly, we all have a why, right? You're familiar with Simon Sinek?
No.
Oh, okay. So look up Simon Sinek, Simon. Sinek is spelled Sinek. He did a TED Talk, and he's also written a book on, the power of
I
why.
recognize him. Okay.
Anyway, he talks about and in his TED Talk, he talked about Apple, he talked about the Wright brothers. He's like, when you start with, you know, the why, as opposed to listing all the features and benefits. It's like, yeah, so what, yawn. But when you have your purpose, and whether it be divinely inspired, or you just grew up with this feeling like, I have this mission, right? And I always love asking what people's why are, or why is, or what's the proper grammar. But the point is that everyone's got their why. And I'm kind of guessing it might be your kids, but there's got to be something else. What is the thing that makes you get out of bed every day, even when you don't want to?
I think what it is I want to leave a lasting impression in this world. I don't want to be famous or anything. I just want, I don't want to get swept away in the bustle of a metropolitan city and lose focus on important things in life. So for me, yes, it's my kids, but it's also just never. I mean, it's rare that I just take a day off. At least a work day off, because it's how I demonstrate to them that you can't do that. I mean, take care of yourself, but don't give up in life. Never take a day off and let it lead to other days off, and the allowing yourself to just fall into that rabbit hole of just giving up on life. It's so hard to live in the Bay Area. So um, one thing that motivates me is giving back to the community. So and I like to demonstrate that to my kids. I actually, part of NARI, we get to hold drives, and we do a lot of donations. But we also actually do a lot of volunteer events. We put together. We do bike builds that we help build bikes. These are brand new bikes that we pay for, put together in this big yearly event. Um, and we donate them to kids who need bikes who are just trying to get to school. We're just trying to this is pre-COVID, obviously. We were able to do it a little bit more virtually this in 2020, but it's it's um, it's the whole idea of just being a member of society, but part of that is giving back. So being a business owner, I've had so much fortune. I want other people to share some of that fortune with me, and yeah, I mean, I that's really what motivates me. I know it's not um, anything materialistic. It's just knowing that I get up in the morning and do what I need to do to make sure anybody around me is not suffering, or anybody around me who needs something, that really needs something, is going to get it. Um, and after I pass, I want people to remember he was always the guy that was willing to give and help, and hopefully influence other people to do the same. Starting with my kids, who are the only ones I can brainwash right now. So,
No, but you're absolutely right. There is something bigger than us. It's bigger than our wallets. It's bigger than our creature comforts. It's bigger than wanting to make it in the Bay Area. And I concur. I lived in the Bay Area for 14 years before I moved down to Monterey, and I've been in Monterey for 14 years. So
oh, okay.
years in California, and one half of it in each Bay Area. And it's
Oh,
just as expensive in Monterey as it is.
yeah.
But you're right. It's like my purpose is to create a ripple effect of joy that touches millions of people. And I'm doing it through the marketing work that I do, through the books that I write, through the music I've created, through the funny videos I make, through the dance instruction. Like, I know that there's not just one route to do that. So I am using all of my talents to create a ripple effect of joy. And what I've discovered is it sounds kind of weird, but at the same time, I know that when I bring joy to others, they are also inspired to do what they do. And it just comes back as this ripple effect, and then it's waves of abundance coming back, right?
Yeah.
So when you serve your community and you are operating with, you know what, I am so grateful that I'm here. I'm assuming I came from
Yes.
Syria. This country's given me a lot of opportunity. My parents worked hard. I'm lucky to be here. I'm a citizen. Let's make it. Let's do something that leaves a bigger legacy to thank the community for all they've done to support me, right?
It's very easy to just, you know, soak up everything from this Bay Area, or milk everything from the Bay Area, and not give back. It's so easy to do that. It's so easy to just live in your high castle or whatever, maybe for a lot of these billionaires, millionaires and billionaires in the Bay Area, and just ignore the us peasants. Um, it's so easy to lose sight that everyone around us is in the same, like the big city struggle. We're all just trying to be that person in the castle. Um, and so it's just important to just understand that we're all struggling, we're all trying to get through, and it's important to give back. And I can't imagine being given the opportunity I was given not giving back, because I feel like I just wasted my existence. So yeah, absolutely.
I love what you're doing. And I think that's really cool. And, I had an idea for you, pre-COVID, you guys were doing those bicycle repair
Yeah.
situations. One thing in the auto repair industry that we are doing that we used to do in person, but now we're doing virtually, and it's really cool, is different shops are hosting car care clinics. Now, it would be that they'd have a little party. They'd invite like the Boy Scouts or the Girl Scouts, or maybe adults, or teenagers, or whoever their audience was, and like, come into our shop. We're going to show you how to check your fluids. We're going to show you how to check your tires, and like basic car maintenance. Well, now they're taking the online conferencing format, and they're showing them virtually so they can still do it. So I'm wondering, instead of you guys repairing the bicycles and all that stuff, could you show them how to do what you guys did so they could become their own little bicycle repair shops? Could that be something that you guys might consider? I mean, that'd be kind of fun, right?
Yeah, so this is part of a bigger organization called Turning Wheels, and they hold this big bike build every year, and they do have stuff like that. They do have stuff like that set up. You could hold your own independent bike build. And actually, we they assume that contractors are handy with everything, including building bikes. So uh, the organization Turning Wheels for Kids decided to have us build the trickier bikes. So over the last 3 years that we've done this, we've become like one of the more advanced bike builders during this yearly event. So yeah, we would love to hold stuff like that if that's a great idea. To do our own little event and bring in kids after COVID is over. Hopefully, to show them how to build bikes. It is also an event that we have all the NARI SV members donate to
Oh,
every year, so that we can buy these bikes, because these are brand new bikes out of the box. So they're pretty much just being assembled out of the box. So it's yeah. If you have your own bike that you would like to have us build, I think that's another event that we should put together. That's a good idea.
that's pretty clever. Well, I can't help it. I'm the marketing idea
Yeah.
girl. Like, people call me all the time, like, what do you think about this? I'm like, how about this, 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 this? Okay, run, go. I'm just a font, so careful what you wish for when talking to me, because I'll keep you busy.
Okay, that's good to hear.
I can't do all that stuff myself. I don't know how to operate a power drill, so no, I won't be the one assembling it, but I'll be the one coming up with all kinds of really cool ideas.
I will pick your brain then if I could.
Party, absolutely. We all love parties, right? Whether it be virtual or not.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is so much fun. Okay, so We've talked about what makes you special and unique. We've talked about who you serve in your life. We've talked about your why. What advice do you have for people? You have a whole bunch of experience. I mean, you could take this in whatever direction, but I am just so interested. What advice do you have for people, whether they're homeowners and they want to remodel, or whether it's just life advice, or maybe you want to throw a bunch of advice at me? I don't know, but you are such a font of wisdom, Hany.
Thank you. I don't know if I'm that wise, but I'm still a little young, hopefully. Still got some years to learn. But I think I just want to remind your listeners that, this is just some words of encouragement that they're going to become a lot stronger. They've become a lot stronger over the course of this pandemic. Um, and we're just more resilient individuals now. I feel like the ones that have gone through the restrictions. I mean, think about how we all had to manage through this pandemic with the lockdown restrictions. You can't go out. You have to work from home right next to your kids who are doing their Zoom school. I mean, luckily we only have one son doing it, not the two younger ones.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine if I had to, help them both through. And actually, our youngest, or I'm sorry, the one that started school, it started kindergarten through Zoom. So it was like a terrible way for him to start his school endeavor. Um, but all these things, and many of us maybe also know somebody we lost because of this. Has this made us stronger? Because it's like if we can get through this, and over the next 20 years, anything comes along, I feel like we can handle it much better. And anything in life, even the minute things, we have more patience for, hopefully. We still have a long road, and we're emerging, but we're emerging tougher mentally. So hold on to that, because um, that's an important lesson to learn from this. We can never forget that's what this pandemic has taught us. Um, Once everything is back to normal, the things that we cannot that we weren't able to access during the pandemic that we can access, when this is all over, don't take those things for granted, because think about what, when you didn't have those things. And now, you used to always say that to your kids. Think about not having this. Think about people in other parts of the world who don't have this. Well, to some degree, and I'm not comparing this to, some very desperate people all across the world, but to some degree, we lost a lot of those things. And always remember that feeling, because you never want to move on from this and never take anything for granted again. Many of us will become more efficient workers, stronger emotionally, and much more patient. And that's something to really look forward to in yourselves. So I hope that's sort of just some encouraging words that we can all just kind of look forward to in the next couple months.
Ah, brilliantly said. It's so true. It is so true. I mean, Monterey County has never gotten out of the purple tier. You guys
Okay.
are far more
Oh, really?
than we are. We've been under this lockdown, the strictest one, the whole
Oh my
time.
gosh. Oh my gosh.
And it's so frustrating because people from other counties come into our county, and then we stay in the restricted zone because they're bringing us the pandemic. It's like,
Yeah, the coastal. Yeah.
everyone wants to get to the coast. Like, oh, let's go on vacation. No, guys, we're still closed. Please don't. But you're right. It is heartbreaking. The Monterey Bay Aquarium has been closed for almost a full year.
Mhm.
Those of
Yeah.
us who are volunteers and members, like I'm donating money, because the shortfall is shocking. Millions and millions. I think the last projection I saw was something like a 48 million, $50 $50 million shortfall.
Oh my gosh, really? Of
That's
donations and stuff, right?
that is big. Like,
Yeah.
all animals have to be cared for. And then of course the economy. Yeah. So don't get me wrong. We're very happy to see tourists, but please wear a mask.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Please help us get out of the strictest restrictions of all the state.
I've become so accustomed to masks. I've got my 2-year-old and my 5-year-old wearing them now, and it's become a normal part of life now. It's all accepted. So
Yeah, and okay, I'm gonna go out on a limb here, but there are times where I'm really appreciative of my mask, especially when I'm walking around the neighborhood at night and it's really cold and windy. That thing's
yes,
warm.
yes,
Okay.
that's very true. I do a lot of job walks where I'm standing outside in the cold, or cold homes that are no insulation or anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, that, it gives me an excuse not to have to shave every other day. So
Right. Right. Yeah, I know. And for us, it's like, okay, we're not going on vacation as much, but man, we're saving money and investing in
yes,
real estate in Florida because it's affordable over there. So it's
yeah,
just,
yeah,
we have money. We just, are spending it in the future, if you will, as opposed
right.
to the now, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, interesting stuff. Well, Haney, you have been amazing. All right, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you. Like, share us your email, your website, your phone number, whatever you're feeling comfortable sharing. I want people to be able to work with you should they choose to do so.
So we have a website, thetileandgroutking.com, and you can also reach us at info@tileandgroutking.com, the A and D spelled out, or our phone number is 408-930-TILE. You can reach me at extension 3 directly. Yeah, and also if anybody is interested in checking out our association, NARI of Silicon Valley, which I am the president of. It's remodelers that are, it helps educate remodelers and keep us all in a part of a networking group where we're all kind of in tune with what's going on with society, and we all help each other out. And that the group that you've joined, and I would love for you to consider being on the board of, because I love your energy, and I know the board would love it too. But yeah, that's my company, that's my organization.
Well, thank you. And I will consider your invitation, but I think before I do that, one of my clients is Nico Baserto of Baserto Painting, and I told him about you guys, and
Okay,
I want him to meet you guys. So
okay.
I might bring a new member before I become a board member. I hope you don't mind.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I want you definitely to take your time and get comfortable. Yeah, I think we hold the elections at the end of the year, so please get acquainted, get comfortable. Um, we'd love to have you on the board, but I think, more important, I just want you to find your place in NARI, because I've been part of them for 10 years now, and they give a lot. The whole organization is very beneficial to my company, and one of the things they want you to do, is to grow personally as a business owner and personally. So that's one of the things you'll learn, hopefully, about the group. Once you get to know everybody. So
Maybe that's why I resonate with everyone so much, because you're right. What is it? The phrase, you cannot raise your net worth until you raise your self-worth,
self-worth, correct? Yes,
right?
that is a phrase thrown around a lot in our organization. Correct. Yeah.
Exactly, because if you don't feel like you're worthy of charging those higher prices and offering the best service and getting compensated for that incredible service and
Yeah.
high quality work, then of course, but you're right. It's interesting, isn't it, how we all bump up against different lessons in personal
Yeah.
development as we are business owners on our journey. Yeah.
Right. You can't do bad work and stay part of our group. It's hard for you to do that. There's no room for that.
You know what was really cool? Okay, so here's a little plug for NARI SV. These guys and gals are so high quality. When I filled out my application, and believe me, I've belonged to a lot of associations, but I've never had anyone question me about my workers' comp insurance. I'm like, we all
Yeah.
work from home and we type for a living. Like, we don't do workers' comp. I've been told by my HR people it's not required for us.
Right.
But it was interesting because obviously construction requires that, yes. So they're
Yes.
like, hey, you're missing something. So I thought that was really interesting. And then you guys also requested, or required, not requested, required that I put down two clients of mine as references. And so, of course, I chose a couple of my dearest, most wonderful clients. And it was so cute because I was on the phone with one of them, Patrick Dolder of Pals Ocala in Florida. He goes, oh, I talked to your people and I told them I work with you. I'm like, oh, that's right. How was it? He goes, oh, I told them all about you, But it was,
Yeah.
it's like, oh wow, this organization really wants to make sure that you are operating with the highest of integrity, because I would imagine in the construction world, and I've seen it, there are a lot of people hanging up a shingle, right, and saying, I'm in construction, but they don't have any of the training, they don't have any of the liability insurance, they don't do permits. There's a lot of stuff that they're shortcutting, and it creates a problem later on down the road for the homeowner, doesn't it?
Correct. Yeah, we make sure your license is up to date, your insurance is up to date. Yeah, we have a screening process. Not anybody can just join. We do require that you're in business for, I believe, a year before you could, on your own, before you can join our organization. So, yeah, it's important to keep our standards high. So.
Nice, nice. Well, I did tell, is it Michelle? She's in charge of the programs?
Correct.
Yeah. So I am super excited to like teach you guys some marketing stuff, because like I love teaching. So if you guys are open to it, I am like idea girl. You know, I'll help you all
So,
with your business.
so our public relations position on the board is actually open right now. So
So here's the
I
funny thing. I got to tell you this, and I say this with love. Every single organization, every single one of them,
once, yeah,
including my team,
I know,
like,
I can
we
imagine.
are. I'm like, nope, I get paid for that shit.
Yeah, okay. All right.
But
There's
I
president.
am really great. I'm really great on membership. I'm really great on education. Like there are other
Okay.
things that I do, believe me. Like I'm
Okay.
the best membership person you've ever seen. In fact,
Okay. Well, that's actually that's the second position that's open actually. So yeah.
we'll talk. We'll talk.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got a funny story, Hany, and then I'll let you go, I promise. Because you were so much fun. I could talk with you all day. Really.
Thanks.
Okay. So years ago, oh my gosh, this was like close to like 1999, 2000, 2001-ish. Okay. At the time, I was very into flamenco dancing, you know,
Okay.
Spanish dancing, right?
Yeah.
And I was taking flamenco dance lessons. I'm a dance instructor prior to COVID, but my husband and I met in dance class 14 years ago. We teach West Coast swing, but I've been
Okay.
dancing for years, and I love, love, love dancing. So back in the early 2000s, turn of the century, I was doing flamenco dance classes, and I kept going to these different concerts and performances, because you know I was broke back then, and you know it was a different life, right? And and I knew that if I volunteered at a show that I could get in for free, right? You know, typical
Correct.
like hook them with a freebie, make them do some work, right? So I'll never forget this. It was really funny. And I'm horrible about like being a cashier. So like you don't want me running your t-shirt booth. You don't want me running your food concession stand, because I'm just not quick enough to do the math in my head to dole out pennies and change, and like it's not my genius. It's not my
Sure.
genius. And there were all these little things that they needed to have done, and I'll never forget it. The director's like, okay, I'd like you to sell t-shirts. And I'm like, I'm just not comfortable with that one. Got something else? He goes, okay, sell wine and food. I'm like, you know, and this is before credit card. Like this is pretty like hands-on stuff. And I'm just like, no. And all the usher spots were already taken. And he was kind of getting exasperated. He's like, God, he's like, what can you do? I said, he goes, can you at least get people to join? I'm like, that I can do.
Mm-hmm.
I went, there wasn't a single person that attended that concert that did not get touched by me and was approached with an application to join the Flamenco Society of San Jose. I
Nice. Okay.
was immediately put on the board after that.
Well done. You found your calling.
It's just I'm the social butterfly, but yes, it happened. This was even a conversation earlier today. I've had so many times, and I hope you still love me afterward. They're like, marketing, PR. I'm like, nope. Do you do stuff for free? I don't do stuff for free. How about you? You know.
Oh yeah, right.
So when
I
people realize that, they're like, okay, all right, all right.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah. I would hate to go to NARI and do tile work. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure you're approached all the time. Hey, could you come to my house? I'll cook you a pizza. No,
Yeah.
honey, that's not how it works.
My neighbors are they're in their mid to late 70s. They just moved in, helpless a little bit. They have a son that doesn't live around here, so they feed me a lot because I'm always over there helping them out. Yeah.
You're a good neighbor. That's sweet.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Isn't it fun that we all have our especially immediacy. Like, I've got a great neighborhood here in Monterey and we all know each other. We all wave. And it's true. It's like that helping out, that spirit of
Yeah.
community you
Yeah.
said. Oh my gosh. Okay, I gotta let you go, but listen, you've been amazing. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with me and Hany Louis. He is amazing. I hope that if you need tile and grout work done and you live in the Bay Area of San Francisco Bay Area, California, please, by all means, give him a call, send him an email, check him out. He's a good guy, and hope this was fun. Cheers.
Thank you, Jennifer.